Now, today's a big day because a cross-party group of MPs has said that cannabis should be legalised. They argue it will bring Britain up to speed with a growing number of Western countries which have already legalised the drug.
The new report claims it could generate more than £1 billion a year in tax revenue. Well, joining us now is Clark French, who has multiple sclerosis, and he says cannabis helps him cope with his condition. Hello, thank you very much for coming in. It's good to see you.
No problem, thanks for having me.
Explain to us, first of all, you take cannabis without fear of being in trouble with the police. And
well,
secondly,
I wouldn't say without fear.
Right, OK, but you take it, and what benefits do you get from it?
Well, I have multiple sclerosis, so I was diagnosed in 2010. I have a lot of pain, I have a lot of spasms, I have bladder weakness, I have trouble walking distances, appetite, I have problems sleeping, and cannabis helps with all of those different things. So I am prescribed £30,000 worth of medication on the NHS, and I don't use a single bit of it because I consume cannabis instead. Now, the NHS is in a crisis. We're facing massive austerity cuts. The cannabis is the perfect thing that can come in, can help a lot of sick people and save the country a lot of money, so it's very important.
What does cannabis do, then, that traditional drugs can't? Because obviously the government, you argue, you can get those drugs on the NHS, and they do help thousands of other MS sufferers perfectly well.
Yeah, well, the problem with the drugs that are available in the NHS is they're mainly, for pain especially, they're mainly opiate-based. So essentially, I'm taking a heroin-like substitute and I can't take cannabis. So we know that the government is OK with sick people taking things that otherwise they say are dangerous, because heroin is Schedule 2. Cannabis is Schedule 1, so that says that has no known medicinal benefit. Yet, GW Pharmaceuticals are making Sativex. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed Sativex. Where I live, they won't pay for it. So even though my doctor, my MS nurse and my neurologist all think that I should have Sativex, the NHS can't pay for it because it's too expensive.
So you're having to make your own arrangements in terms of getting cannabis.
So I have to break the law every single day just to be well, and that's a situation that hundreds of thousands of people right here directly in this country are facing every day, and it's something the government could change very, very easily, and it makes total sense to do so. So I'm not sure why they're not listening.
Well, we know that some police chiefs around the country have said have openly said that they're going to turn a blind eye, essentially, to people taking cannabis because it's just not worth their while to pursue. And you've said yourself that, although it is illegal, you don't worry too much about that sort of thing. Isn't the situation working as it is?
No, it's definitely not. At the moment, we've kind of got like a, if you could say, a de facto decriminalisation in some places, but that's actually the worst of both worlds, because you're still getting criminalisation for different people. And actually, we really need to take the market out of the hands of criminals and out of the hands of the black market, put it into a regulated system where the government can tax it, where there can be safety measures, where there can be testing. So every time that you buy cannabis, you know exactly what's in it. It's got different, it will have the THC content, it will have the CBD content, it will tell you what you're taking. So the problem that we have now with high-strength cannabis is that people don't know what it is. So it would have a label on it. There's always going to be a place for high-strength cannabis, especially for medicinal purposes. For me personally, a high THC is the best, by far the best option for me, because it reduces my pain. But I consumed it this morning. Would you say that I seem like a drug-crazed criminal?
No, you seem fine to me.
That's what the government is calling me, a drug-crazed criminal.
What if they say, OK, let's legalise it for people like you?
Yeah, I mean,
for medicinal purposes, but not for everybody.
Well, and that would be a good step in the right direction. It is imperative that medical cannabis patients get access to the medicine that they need. I mean, for example, my mum, she also has MS, unfortunately, so I've kind of grown up around it all my life. She isn't a cannabis consumer. However, if the law was to change...
Is that because it doesn't work for her?
No, it's because of the law, and because she's not comfortable with breaking the law. I will put my health above it, and I will say, you know what, I'm going to do it, I'm going to break the law, because I think that I want that quality of life.
Where do you stand then on recreational use? Because a lot of people are campaigning for cannabis to be legalised for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the line between what is recreational and what is medicinal is very, very, very blurry, because, I mean, I am, first and foremost, a medical cannabis patient. I have MS. I consume it because it helps my pain, but I also enjoy it. So I am also a recreational consumer. I enjoy consuming cannabis, and that's a great thing, actually, because I want to take my medicine. Medicine isn't a horrible thing to me to go, oh, no, you don't want it. It's actually an enjoyable experience as well. And I think if someone is working and then they come home from work and they want to relax with a joint after work, what is the problem with that?
The problem is that if teenagers hear that cannabis is legal and they start taking it and think, well, this is cool, I'm allowed to take this now, it then can lead to other things. That's always the argument.
Well, I think that teenagers wouldn't be still allowed to take it because you'd set age limits, so similar to alcohol.
But they find their way around it.
Well, they find their
aren't allowed to drink. But
when they find their way around it, and that's inevitably going to happen anyway. But it's going to be harder.
They're finding their way around it now.
It's easier now to get. If you're 15 years old, it'll be easier for you to get cannabis than it will for you to get alcohol, because you can go to a drug dealer and they're not going to ask you for ID. All they're going to care about is if you've got £20 in your pocket. Whereas you go to a supermarket, they're going to ask you for ID, constantly going to ask you for ID, and you're probably going to have to steal it off your parents to get it. Whereas not the case with cannabis. So if we want to protect teenagers from the harms of cannabis and from the harms of high-strength cannabis, regulation is the way to do it, and putting it in the hands of responsible adults who are not going to sell to children.
Well, Clark, you argue your case very well. Thank you for coming in to speak to us here on Sunrise this morning. Clark French there, who suffers from MS and consumes cannabis to alleviate the symptoms of that. Thank you very much. We are going to be debating this subject here on Sunrise later on this morning, 9:30. Get your views in. Should they legalise cannabis, the government legalise cannabis for medicinal purposes, even for recreational purposes, at Sky News on Twitter. Still plenty